There are many different approaches to alleviating back pain. And one of the most common ones is to strengthen oneself, to go into a strengthening regimen, maybe to lift weights, maybe to do a lot of abdominal exercises to strengthen the core. This is often prescribed for people with back pain, and with good reason. However, many people actually don't relieve their back pain through that, and they can often even create problems through strengthening exercises. And the reason for that is that they are not addressing what's actually behind the back pain. In some cases, people's back pain is due to their back overworking, and the soft tissue up and down the spine being constantly called on in a way that it's not meant to be, and the soft tissue becoming constantly taut and never releasing, never really relaxing, the joints of the spine never fully moving through their potential ranges of motion, and the tissue becoming rather brittle, so that it's neither able to contract fully nor release fully. It's just sort of stuck. And this causes kind of cascading response throughout the rest of the system, and it actually can be a result of issues elsewhere in the system as well. So what I do when people come with back pain that is associated with spasm or very limited range of motion, and I have a sense that there's some deconditioning there, that they're not using themselves in a very diverse way. They have probably quite sedentary. Or they're dealing with recovering from injury, and they're needing to be really careful. And maybe there's a lot of compensation in the body from having been injured, a lot of tension. What I do is a softening process first, before we go to generating more support and more strength. There needs to be an actual reduction of some of that contraction in the musculature so that there can be a better distribution throughout all of the soft tissues of the body, and therefore a change in the alignment of the skeleton, the joints. And then we're in a good position to generate better support without just calling on the old habitual movement patterns that we've used up to this point. So I'm going to demonstrate some of the softening movements that I might do, one of many that I might do with someone who comes to me with back pain. Back pain often comes with stiff hips, inflexible hips, tight legs, neck pain. It all goes together. So the movements I'll do can be helpful for those issues as well. And in a following video, subsequent video after this, I will demonstrate what to do after one has explored the softening process and wants to begin to start creating more strength and support. So if you'd like to do it with me, we'll do it lying on the floor. You might need a block or some books to put under your head. You want the surface of the floor to be firm. So don't do this in your bed because you won't benefit. You need the floor, carpet on the floor, mat is great, whatever you need to be comfortable. So you'll be lying on your back. And if when you lie on your back, you feel your head really, your chin jutting out to the ceiling, or you feel that it's uncomfortable for your back to be with your legs long, then you definitely want to bring something under your head, which will alleviate some of the pull into your lower back. And it's okay if your head is a little in front of the rest of your body, that's fine. So you want to just take stock of how much of you touches the floor and where. Maybe on the left side, you've got more contact than on the right side, or vice versa. And you don't want to try to change that, just observe it. And the first movement you'll do very slowly is to bend one of your knees out to the side very slowly. And you leave your foot on the ground. You let the weight of your leg actually rest as you bend the knee out to the side and begin to drag your knee up towards your chest and into your hand. So you'll eventually end up with your knee over your trunk somewhere and your hand helping you hold it there. And then you'll reverse. And notice how I'm letting my head follow my knee. My gaze is sort of interested in my knee, and then my leg goes back down to where it started, and so does my head. And then I do the other side. So notice how slowly I'm going. I'm really taking my time. And here, as I return towards the floor, I let my lower leg and foot just hang. And that means that the foot will find the floor pretty soon. And then I can just give the weight of my leg through my foot into the floor. So there's no unnecessary lifting that I'm doing. I'm actually dragging my limbs towards the rest of me. And I'm letting this weight, the weight of my thigh bone and knee, which they're going to pull me, the rest of me, toward them. And that may or may not feel comfortable to your back. So that's the reason to go slowly, is to really allow yourself to find the trajectory. Maybe your knee wants to go a little bit more diagonally towards your chest. But whatever trajectory you choose, the key with the practice is to go slowly enough that you are able to breathe in an uninterrupted, relaxed way the whole time. So if you're really dealing with a lot of discomfort in your back, you may not even get your foot all the way off the floor. It may just be a matter of dragging the knee, feeling the pull, letting your head roll toward the knee, and then just sliding it back down and never even lifting your foot off the floor. And if this is unusual for you, this will be enough. Just doing this with no tension. Learning to let your leg rest in gravity while it moves. Learning to let the rest of your body move with the movement of your leg, as opposed to stiffening your neck and stabilizing and only moving your leg, which will create tension in your body. And there's nothing wrong with tension unless it's the only way you know how to move. So this might be really novel to you. And if so, that's all you need to do. Now, if that feels good to you and you'd like more, you can put your hands behind your head. Let your elbows come forward. And you can begin to lift your head at the same time that you bring your knee toward your chest. And it's really important not to make this into a kind of intense sit-up. So I could bring my knee more close to my head. I could really crunch and try to make that contact, but that's not what this is about. This is about relaxing while moving. So we have to really get away from goal orientation here that we might be conditioned to strive for when we move like this, and just look for smoothness, ease, kind of timing where everything goes together at the same moment, arrives and departs. And then once you've had enough, and that's very personal, so you have to listen for when you feel like taking a rest, then you take a rest. And maybe you want the block back under your head, maybe you don't, but you just make a little comparison, right and left sides of the body, noticing if you can detect any kind of difference in the way you meet the ground. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But always checking in a kind of before and after comparison when you do these movements. And then when you're finished, you can roll all the way to one side, bend your knees, and move up to a sitting position. And eventually, taking your time, go all the way up to standing and notice how you feel standing, making sure that you just take your time to do that. Don't do anything sudden. Don't stretch anything or pop anything. Just be as if you're still moving really slowly on the floor as you come all the way to your feet to make that final comparison and notice what's changed. So that's the first step in one of many, many different kinds of softening practices I might do with someone. And the next step will be once you really feel like you're in a little bit more pliable state, to move on to generating more support. Coming a little bit away from the floor, we'll be on hands and knees, and learning how to support yourself there without reverting to your old habits. So play with this for this week, and next week I'll meet you back here and we'll move on.